Welcome, 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 trivalent beings of spirit, mind, and body. Time for the Ask Doc Alkebulanese Solutions show, sponsored by Prometheus Reborn Universal Foundation, also known as Proof. Its mission is to spread the trivalent understanding noetics, featuring stand-up philosophy that includes anthropology, psychology, biology, metaphysics, medicine, psychodrama, comedy, and music through a genre called edutainment, educating while entertaining, coined by KRS-One. The host of this wonderful show is Dr. Kwaku L. Carlisle Woods, RN, MD, MED-D1, and myself, co-host, Dr. Hamida Rockman Woods, MED, PhD, MED-D2. Well, I have the PH.
I have the M.
We both have D's. That makes us Doc². The title of today's show is Afro American History is.
Afro American history is. Yeah. Well, we're going to get to that in a minute, but first we got to go to the hip hop trio. We ain't plus no more. It's just a hip hop trio, and we are killing it. Oh, yeah. The 20th of March, 9 days for my birthday, we got at the Cleveland Main Library down on Superior.
Imagine that, yes.
Yes, in the Louis Stokes Wing Auditorium. We're going to be giving out the next stage in the evolution of the human species. Oh, yeah. We're going to be doing that by reviewing our book, The Blessings of Slavery. Now, most people don't know about the blessings of slavery, but we're going to be giving you what our ancestors went through in order to create us. Now, this is the third month of Kwanzaa,
Thank you.
Emoja, unity, Funtum Fanafu.
Yes.
My wife put that in there.
Yes.
I loved it. It was the name of McKinley Tate III and ours village when we were going through Quad David's rites of passage. Funtum Fanaf.
Yes.
It's a symbol of unity. It symbolizes unity in diversity and democracy. It's actually an alligator with two different heads and one stomach. This little part right here is one stomach. No matter which head ate it, that same stomach was fed. That was the symbol that the Khan used to illustrate unity in the face of division or separateness. We could not be the same and still have the same stomach.
Yes.
Okie doke. Now devote this day to the ancestors. My wife has ancestors she needs to address.
Yes. So, first let me say this. I want to thank my cousin Sue, a daughter of Francilla Jones and Joel Hayes, and Lisa, daughter of Coretta Jones and Joe Mays, who have been following in the footsteps of my grand cousin Coretta, daughter of C.W. Jones and wife Stella, by keeping the Jones family connected through the years of family reunions along with her and after her return to the Most High. So we are blessed to have living history in our family amongst the Jones family. An example of that is my aunt, Myrtle Jones, whose married name is Gangs. Her husband owned Gangs Funeral Home. The youngest of my father, she was, and her brother, Leroy, were the two youngest of my father's siblings. Their father's name is Reverend Samuel Jones, my grandfather. If you're familiar with Brown versus the Board of Education, then you'll need to understand what influenced the ruling establishing racial segregation unconstitutional in public schools in the United States. The prelude to Brown versus the Board of Education was Webb versus District 90 of South Park, Kansas, which was turned into Merriam, Kansas later. That set the foundation for the board versus the board of versus the board, Brown versus the Board of Education.
All right.
Woo, woo, woo.
You got it out.
The suit Webb versus District 90 Supreme Court case involved 39 black students. Well, then they called us colored students fighting for educational rights. Background population growth after World War II prompted the construction of a new 490,000 South Park Elementary School was supposed to be built next to Merriam, Kansas. Well, once it was built, the pink people, which many of you call white, said, no, we don't want children of color going to school with us. So the District 90 decided to build, to advocate a different building they called it the J.C. Walker Building for the children of color to go to while the pink children went to the new school.
A brand new school that your taxes paid for.
Right, and they happened to name it after the township, South Park.
Wow.
So, well, my Aunt Myrtle Ling Gaines and Uncle Leroy were amongst those children. When you look at the slide, you see the highlighted in blue, the two children. That's my Aunt Myrtle Ling and her brother, my uncle, beneath her, Uncle Leroy. Also, there's Esther Brown. She was the Jewish woman who lived next door to South Park School, really, and she urged the parents to sue the district. Also above that is Alonzo and Mary Webb. Actually, they're married into my family through the Estelle family that my aunt Eula was married to, and they were our landlords. They lived right next door to us. This is long before I understood what was going on. So let's move on to our next subject of the day.
Okie doke. But before we move on to our next subject of the day, I need to make a statement about my wife's statement.
Yes, you can bring that down now.
Had she not done all of the prelude to Brown versus the board in Kansas, I would not have been able to go to medical school at the University of Kentucky. I would not be the doctor that I am today without her family going through what they went through that led to me being able to go to a formerly pink school. Oh, I am.
The 14th Amendment allowed Thurgood Marshall. Elijah Scott Sr. was the lead attorney in this case. But the 14th Amendment allowed for equal educational facility. And that's how the case was won, because they did not have equal facility. The colored children were in an old rundown building, like I said, the Walker Building, had outdoor plumbing and toilet facility. They had no kitchen. So they were able to win that way. So yes.
Again, our
Because of that.
Constitution and the people who run our government said separate but equal is fine. Brown versus the Board of Education found out separate is never equal. No, can't be.
Yes.
So that's where we start off this little jaunt through American history.
That's
and
right.
Going that way, American history starts and actually becomes more than the Europeans who came here, 90% of whom were illiterate. When Alkebulanese, they were called Africans by Europeans, since these Europeans were taught to read and write by Rome, which won the second the war against, not Sparta, where was the Alkebulanese?
Oh, Cartilage.
Carthage.
Carthage, yes. Hannibal.
Thank you, Hannibal from
Yeah.
Carthage. The Second Punic War, Rome against Carthage, ended when a general named Scipio Africanus won the major battle that led to Carthage's defeat. The Roman government decided to name the whole continent after him. So they named it Africa after Scipio Africanus. When they taught reading and writing to the British, the Picts, the Gauls, the Germanic hordes, and all the other Europeans, they taught them to call this continent Africa, even though the people who lived there knew it as Alkebulan. That was, what, 2,000, almost 2,500 years ago? But when our ancestors got here in 1619,
Imagine that.
that started the evolution of North America to the place we now call the United States of America. Ha ha. It was initially forests, meadows, and several mountainous areas separating them. Our ancestors, along with a few Irish and Jews, cut down the forest, built roads, houses, towns, and communities. They also built farms, plantations, and smaller work communities for themselves. In those communities, survival meant conquering a host of restrictions and disabling laws created by pink people to restrict the abilities of our ancestors. And as Qua David taught Mick and me, this started in 1624 to 1630 when Virginia and then all of the other colonies passed laws restricting what Alkebulanese could own, what they could have, where they could go, how many of them could gather, everything that would put limitations on their abilities to do anything. That was what pink people were about. Now, think about this for a second. Why do you need to do that to anyone you say is inferior to you? Why do you need to do any of those restrictions if they cannot exceed you? Which they were doing even as early as 1625. Many of the initial laws were predicated on complaints made by pink farmers and ranchers that the Alkebulanese, who used to be slaves, they were no longer slaves because slavery wasn't actually, chattel slavery didn't start for about another 35, 40 years. They worked as bondsmen for a period of time and then they were released. And when they were released, they exceeded all of their pink companions. And the pink companions argued, complained, and talked to the lawmakers. We need to put restrictions on these people. We can't have them outdoing us. But this host of restrictions and disabling laws created by pink people were made to restrict the abilities of our ancestors to succeed in this new land they had built. You remember Thanksgiving? Why was there Thanksgiving? Because the original pink people who got here didn't know how to survive. And the Native Americans had to teach them. They, the Europeans, were starving. They did not know how to survive in this new land. Our ancestors changed this new land so that they could survive in it. And then had all these restrictions placed on them to make sure that they had a harder time to survive in it. But
Just want to shout out. We got a listener, a new listener in. His name is Desmond Coleman. Shout out to Desmond Coleman.
Desmond,
Hi,
come
Desmond.
on, Des.
And I just told him to follow along and ask any questions as we go.
Absolutely.
What's up,
Thank you,
Desmond?
Des.
Thanks for tuning in, and please share and like.
But one of the truly telling points, largely ignored by pink people and our ancestors, is cost.
Imagine that.
Cost. How much does something cost? And what could I mean by that but the cost of a 20-year-old Alkebulanese male was $600 to $1,200 or more, depending on whether he had any European genes. You could go up to as high as $1,800 or $2,000 for one person. It was never mentioned that during the Middle Ages in Europe, think about Charles Dickens' stories, Oliver Twist, and all of the other stuff that he did during that time period. Europeans were sold for less than $50. Go back to those movies that they did about Europe during those times, and you will see parents, pink parents, saying, "Girl for sale, boy for sale," and they weren't charging $100. They were charging a meal. They were charging less, much less than $5 for a child that you could do whatever the hell you want with.
And hey, Doc, and when you say a meal, not a million,
No, not a
a
million.
real meal.
About, yeah, a breakfast, a lunch, or a dinner. Oh yeah, that's what Europeans cost. And they were sending them here by the hundreds for nothing. They were not required to pay any money. All they had to do was give them work and make sure they were worked during that time period that they were required to work. But to even further the use of our ancestors, a tax was levied on each slave bought, sold, or used. There were local, state, and federal taxes paid for each slave owned. Every year, every slave owner had to pay taxes on each slave. They had to pay local taxes, state taxes, and once the United States of America was created, federal taxes. And these taxes help pay the salaries of mayors, sheriffs, governors, senators, presidents. That's where most of the money came from that ran this nation. It wasn't from selling anything. They had nothing to sell. And not until our ancestors put it in the ground, grew it, harvested, and got it ready to be sold. They had no other means of any financial endowments other than our ancestors. And they used them quite well. Our ancestors built, created, and financed the origin of the United States of America. Not only the nation's creation, but its upkeep and maintenance. They created necessary measures for the upkeep of the nations. Now you got to understand, Europeans had never had a reputation for cleanliness or hygiene. Just the opposite, they were the funkiest smelling people on the planet. Europe was a very juvenile race of people. They were only 35 to 45,000 years old. By contrast, China was 10 times older than that. Our ancestors in Alkebulan were 100 times older, 100 times more mature than that. As a result, Europeans did not know how to effectively deal with their own body waste. They took their own body waste and dumped it into streams, rivers, oceans. And they figured that took care of it. But then they started noticing that if you drank water, you got sick and sometimes died. Yeah, because the water was being polluted by feces and urine from every person who was alive in that region. So Europeans decided, no, we better not have too much to do with water. They never drank it unless it was treated, generally to make alcohol. They drank alcohol because they could drink alcohol, beer, wine, gin later on, and whiskey, because it was heat treated and all the stuff that was normally in the water, they burnt it up.
So, Doc, I was going to say, anybody who's listening, we're going to bring this up to date here because he's getting at something here. Very, very important.
Yeah, I am. Okay. So, Europeans.
Hold on. Ted says there's no audio, but some other people heard the audio. Let me see.
Okay.
Let me see if I'm hearing any. Yeah, I'm hearing audio.
I'm hearing audio in my head.
I'm hearing audio on my phone. Ted, maybe you need to turn your phone up.
Uh-huh. That might help.
There's some other people saying that they hear the audio.
Okay.
Thank you for letting us know.
Thank
By
you
all
so
means.
much, Ted.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on with the audio with your phone on that end. I'm hoping it's not ours either, but some people are saying that we have audio.
Good. Europeans, we're talking about maybe 1500s. Not drinking water, because it will kill you. But also not messing around with water, because if it'll kill you, you shouldn't be playing with it. So they bathed very rarely. And bathing is kind of a difficult word because they did not bathe like we consider bathing. No, they would take water and put it on and rub it around and then dry it. That's it. Put their whole body in water? Did nobody have any conveniences to do that? There was no such things as bathtubs in Europe ever. Or at least during this time for the next several centuries. And they rarely, if ever, bathed themselves. They almost never took off their clothes. A man and a woman might be married for 25 or 30 years and never, let me say that again, never see the opposite sex naked. Because they went to bed with clothes on, bed clothes, they called them. We didn't have no pajamas in Alkebulanese. We didn't need them. But in Europe they did. And as a result, most pink people, they were funky. They smelled funky. Their clothes smelled funky. Their home smelled funky. And they smelled bad. Okay, so they were very surprised when a young woman named Ellen Egleen created the first wringer washer machine. Of course she was Alkebulanese. The patent of which she sold for $18 because she rightfully believed that very few pink women would buy such a device from an Alkebulanese female. The Kendall girls have an introduction to Ellen Egleen. Listen to this. That means makes pictures out of the meanings of these words. check.
If Ellen did it,
You can too.
so that's exactly what we'll do.
Born in Washington, D.C., came a lady named Ellen A. Glean. Started off doing housekeeping. Now she's known in history for inventing. If it wasn't for Ellen A. Glean inventing the ringer machine, I wouldn't keep it so clean. She did her thing. This was back in the 1840s. Know that it was very hard to keep your clothes clean, but that didn't stop A. Glean. She had a dream to make washing clothes easy for you and me. That's an amazing thing. I'm so fresh and clean. Do it like and clean.
If you want to be so fresh, keep your life with clothes in check. If Ellen did it, we can too. So that's exactly what we'll do.
Ellen was brave to create as a black woman in the 1800s when it was hate. Showing all the kids that if you flow with the wind of imagination land and put your own spin in this world, put your own spin in this world. I'm so fresh and clean. Do it like and clean.
If you want to be so fresh, keep your life with clothes in check. If Ellen did it, we can too. So that's exactly what we'll do.
Keeping it fresh like Ellen Eglin. She represents what it means to keep it clean.
Okay. That was Ellen Eglin. Keeping it swift, keeping it clean. My name is Dr. Larry Carlisle Woods, RN, MD, MET-D1. I am CEO of Prometheus Reborn Universal Foundation, and I teach the trivalent understanding noetics, which is the next phase of evolution of the human species. We can change how you function from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet in 133 seconds. It's been tried, it's been tested, it has never been proved to be bested. March 20th, downtown Cleveland at the Public Library Auditorium on Superior, we will be giving an introduction to the trivalent understanding noetics. And if you want to change your being, come.
Come learn you.
Come learn you. Y.O.U. That stands for your own understanding, which, believe it or not, you do not have. We'll explain this more on the 20th. But one of the unique gifts in the experience of slavery is the heightened need and use of creativity and innovation, which was surely fueling the brother known as Garrett Morgan.
Imagine that.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Garrett Morgan. He invented stoplights, gas masks, hair care products, hair straightening cream. Let's take a look to see what can be seen. Song, The Kendall Girls, singing Garrett Morgan.
Be what I want to be. In the world and create new things. Guaranteed, you can't stop the kid.
Garrett Morgan was a pretty cool dude. Made several inventions to help the world improve, includes the sewing machine, gas mask, traffic lights for the nation. And he did it with only a 6th grade education. Like a spirit, he adjusted the position of the lights. So now everyone on the road knows how to drive right. So let this be a lesson that life is a blessing. Use the spirit to invent like Garrett, don't be second guessing.
Be what I want to be. In the world and create new things. Guaranteed, you can't stop the kid.
Born in Kentucky, then he moved to Cleveland. Started an organization in Cleveland for black men. Natural born leader and an entrepreneur. Showing me if I believe I can make the world newer. I can make the world safer and be a creator. Thank you, Garrett Morgan, for the things that you invented.
I can be what I want to be. Invent the world and create new things. Guaranteed, you can't stop the kid.
Ha ha ha!
I like that
Yeah.
little remixing of the pictures you was doing.
All right
Yeah, yeah.
That
now.
was kind of nice.
That was kind of nice now.
And a couple things. Let me see. Ted said all good on the audio. Ted Whitfield. Give it up for Teddy Ted in the house.
Hey,
Joyce Baker Harrison says, "Hey Doc."
what's up, guys?
Well, hi, Joy.
Well,
And one more new guest, my good friend Scott Al Parker. Al is in the building.
Oh, you know I love me some Al.
Al is actually our soon-to-be partner, Doc, on the OG Shankster story.
Okay.
This him and Will are coming on as
Producers.
executive producers.
Okay.
Okay, that means
What's
they're
up?
paying.
Yeah, they got money. That means
That
they got
means they
money.
paying. Oh, I know it. Uh-huh.
Give it up for Al's money.
Yeah. Tell him I already got the script. All he needs to do is pay me for it.
That's right.
Come on, y'all.
I've already
That's
wrote it.
awesome.
So if y'all, anybody
Tum
who's
tum
listening,
falafel.
okay, I'm sorry.
Unity.
Anybody who's listening, if you got any questions so far, go ahead and type them in the chat. We usually can bring you on a phone call, but right now our technical assistant is out getting her hair done.
Getting her hair done, yeah.
But
well, we all got to.
yeah, everybody got to do it.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead, Doc.
All right, then. Hair cream also played a role in our next ancestor story. She lived most of her life in St. Louis, Missouri, where she created a hair care school for Alkebulanese. It was the first multi-level building. It had 5 floors. Built exclusively
Imagine that.
for Alkebulanese by Alkebulanese. You see that building right there? That building is on the corner of St. Ferdinand and Pendleton. Now, you see that corner right there? If you go down the right side of that street, that's St. Ferdinand. If you go down all the way to the other end of the block, the second house on the right-hand side of the street, you'll notice a red brick building, and generally you'll notice a whole bunch of kids out in front of it. That's my house. That's where I grew up from the age of 6 until I was 16. Yeah, and that building right there, I did not know that it was the biggest and best building built by blacks in this country. It was the first multi-story, multi-level building that we built. It was called the Poro Educational Center, and it housed the Poro World Beauty College, the Poro World Credit Union, which gave monies to the NAACP, Howard University, Meharry University, and Black Wall Street in Oklahoma. It also housed the Amethyst Theater and Billy Burke's Restaurant, the best fast food restaurant that has ever existed. Am I lying, baby?
Oh, it's delicious. I was blessed, Jamila and I, our
Yes.
youngest, to be treated to Billy Burke's
Yes.
before it closed down.
Before it closed down forever.
Right. Yeah.
And there is no telling the millions of people who went gaga. Because when a star, musician, actor, a dancer, anybody who was, doing it like that, when they came to St. Louis, that's where they wanted to go. They wanted to go to Billy Burke's. And yeah, it was a reason behind that, because Billy Burke's had the best food on this planet. Mm-hmm. Now, this is where Madam C.J. Walker got her training from. The woman who started all this, her name was Annie Malone. And her poro building was at the corner of Pendleton and St. Ferdinand, like I said, in the part of St. Louis known as the Ville. I lived most of my early life, again, from the age of 6 till I just about left this country, at 4351 St. Ferdinand, down the street from the Poro building, in which I played as a young boy. My sisters worked at the Amadeus Theater, selling tickets. Evelyn sold tickets, and Carlene Dean worked the popcorn machine and sold candy. And that's where I went to the movies, right down the street on the corner. But in the Ville, one of the strangest places on this planet, I did not know it at all. I thought everybody had a movie around the corner from their house. I thought everybody had tennis courts around the corner from their house. I thought everybody had a hospital that was run by Alkebulanese down the street from their house. I thought that everybody had all the stuff that I had, a rec center within 200 yards of my front door. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different churches within 2 blocks. Mm-hmm. I thought everybody lived like I lived. I was so very wrong. People like this tennis player that used to come up and play over around the corner. He used to play with my best friend Teddy Haynes. His name was his name. I had his name, believe it or not, and just before it came up, Arthur Ashe.
Yeah.
That's it. Arthur Ashe. That was a tennis player who came up to play at our tennis courts around the corner. Mm-hmm. Yeah, took my best friend away from me. I cussed him out many times. But from that same area came others who made note of the place and the time we were to exist. A group of performers consisting of several St. Louisville residents came out with a song that focused on the time it had come to be. That group was called the Fifth Dimensions, and they started out with a song about the change in cosmic time.
Bring that down.
That ushered in the age of Aquarius. That's where we are right now, the age of transformation. That's why I am giving the next stage of evolution of the human species now, here. That's why I've been nominated for the $10 million X Prize. That's why I was required to go to New York for the United Nations Incentive to Innovation Conference. That's why I've been traveling all over this planet since then. That's why I'm a chief in Ghana in Larteh province. That's why I got representatives in the Philippines, South America, and Europe. That's what we're doing. This is why.
And that's, to add to that, that's also why he's developed the trivalent understanding and techniques to improve your health, spirit, mind, and body.
I can give you a brand new time that you have never had use of before. Though it was in your life, you never considered it. It is called Avanzada. And it basically marks the time from when you wake up to when you get out of bed and go to work, or school, or wherever you got to go. That time period, we can teach you ways to use that so creatively, it makes a whole new life for you. But we're just doing what all the rest of our ancestors have been doing for the last several centuries, ever since 1619. And one group talked about it in time. They said, this is the time of Aquarius, water carrier, intelligence, understanding. Peep this.
What is the truth about me? No more fossils or derisions. Our true history is our vision.
Mystic crystal revelation.
And our spirit's liberation. When the moon is in the second house, and Jupiter then peace will guide the planet, and love was still the start. This is the morning of the age of Aquarius, age of Aquarius.
Let the sun shine. Let the sun shine in. The sun shine in. Let the sun shine. Oh, let it shine. You gotta open up your heart. Let it shine in. Right here in Cleveland. You must be believing. Let it shine in when you're alone. When you're out. Open up your heart. Make a big Steven. You must believe it. Open up your heart. Let that sun shine.
Hey, y'all, that right there was nice. People was raving over this, and that was a rough
That's a
draft,
rough
y'all.
draft.
We just recorded that.
Just recorded it. We haven't put it all together yet.
We haven't mixed it.
We haven't mixed it. No, we haven't done nothing to
Okay.
it.
You can let that down now.
That's just what we decided to come out with because it fit. And what else fits is quit. Because we're at the end of today's show. Now, believe it or not, next Wednesday's show is going to be a whole lot better, a whole lot quicker, and we're going to give you some more insights into the tools of the trivalent understanding noetics.
Right. Hey, hold on a second, Doc. We're getting quite a few people in the chat here.
So we're done right here.
Scott Parker, my brother Al.
Yes.
He says, I'm an Aquarius.
Wow! You go, man. This is your time.
Yes.
This is your straight up time.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
While I'm shouting out, anybody got a question before we end, go ahead and type it now.
Yeah.
Who is Y.O.U? We got a person that says their name is Y.O.U.
Woo-woo. Okay,
And
then.
they said, Y.O.U says, I like this.
Ha ha! You ain't seen nothing yet. You wait, woo-woo. Come back next week.
Woo.
Woo-woo-woo.
And then
Woo-woo-woo-woo.
Ted says, greetings, everyone. What's up, Teddy Ted?
Ted. There you go. Uh-huh. Just like that. I like
Y.O.U
it.
says,
Woo-woo.
educational. Yes.
Yes, indeed.
And tell her why it's educational, Doc.
Well, this is not just educational. This is a experience. It's an edutainment experience. We educate through entertainment. A guy by the name of KRS-One came out with that about 30 years ago. And when he came to Cleveland and performed with us, Global Entertainment, he passed the mic, edutainment mic, to us. And we are doing it to death. You know?
And that's one of the reasons why we opened up for who, Doc?
Who didn't we open up for?
You
talking about?
you know him by his last name begins with an O.
Okay.
Obama.
You talking about when the mayor asked us to introduce this guy to Cleveland that had never been to Cleveland? The guy from
Senator.
Illinois. He was a senator, and he wanted somebody that had some pull and knew some stuff. And yeah, that's when we introduced Senator Barack Obama to Cleveland for his first chance at the presidency. But hold on. Let me show you how strange that gets. At the time, I was living dead in the middle of Slavic Village in Cleveland. Slavic Village is called Slavic Village because a whole bunch of Slavs from Europe lived there. I was one of the few Alkebulanese that lived there. I lived at 44 Czar Street, right in the middle of Slavic Village. When Barack finally did show up after we had introduced him to the crowd at Tri-C College, he came straight to me, shook my hand, and said, "Doc, I thank you so much. My people have been telling me about all the work you've been doing here for me." They use me as what's called a stalking horse. When a politician who is not familiar with an area comes into an area that he's come to for the first time, he usually gets somebody who is from that area to be his advisor and advise him as to who he needs to have on stage with him, who he can get rid of, who he can do without. That's what they used me for. And Barack was coming in to thank me for that. But when he was doing that, I saw this glow all around him behind there. And I felt, oh, that's God telling me he's going to be president. I went back immediately, told Mick, God just told me he's going to be president, told everybody else from Global, God just told me he's going to be president. And from that day on, every day, me, my wife, our artist, and all of Global went out day by day, door by door, throughout Slavic Village, supporting and promoting Barack. Hillary's people called us because one of their people's close
Called us to.
knew my wife from way back.
Yeah.
And they told us, please stop supporting Barack. We have monies for you to support Hillary. But I had to tell him, no, God told me this is what I need to do and I need to do it. Now, Barack became president the first time that he became president because he carried Ohio. If he had not carried Ohio, he would not have been president. He carried Ohio because he carried Cleveland. If he had not carried Cleveland, he would not have carried Ohio. He would not have been president. He carried Cleveland because he carried Slavic Village. If he had not carried Slavic Village, he might not have carried Cleveland, he would not have carried Ohio, and he sure would not have been president.
Wow, that's a hell of a story. Hey, Doc, we got a couple people here. Well, Ted, he asked a question. He said, is the Mississippi River really the Nile?
Okay, let me give you a little backup.
Good question.
Very good question, but back up. I told you I come from St. Louis, Missouri. That's right on the banks of the Mississippi, and believe it or not, the Mississippi River, when I was about maybe 10 or 12, was where me and my brother played. We had a catamaran that we built, and we wanted to go to Cuba. And we actually sailed down the Mississippi, and the Coast Guard found us in the Bay of Fundy, about 30-some miles from Cuba. Is it the Nile? No. But the Nile is the longest river in the world.
A picture of us with Barack Obama.
It is the longest river in Alkebulanese. The Mississippi is the longest river in North America. Similar, not quite the same. Let's see. Mick wanted us to show you something. A picture that is about to come up right now.
So, Doc, is it denial? Is it really denial?
No,
I don't
it is
understand
not.
what he mean.
I
think
understand what he
I think
means.
I heard that.
I've heard that before too. No, it is not, but they are each in their prospective continents the major force in that continent and the major source of water flow in that continent. The Nile is the major source of water flow in Alkebulan, and the Mississippi is a major source of water flow in North America. That's the picture. He wants you to throw that picture up. Okay, we got a little picture from you, y'all. Okay, here it is. Make it big.
Oh, okay, you can see it. Good. Okay, bear with me, y'all, cause.
Okay, we working on it.
But hopefully, does that answer your question, Teddy Ted? Hopefully, that answers it.
If not, ask me another one, or ask me something else about specific.
Anybody can ask a question. But, Doc, I got one question before we go, and then we'll probably get everybody on. Everybody who's listening, tuning in, please share and like if you do enjoy the program and what we're doing here, because we want to go ahead and talk about a lot of other subjects coming up. We got a huge year coming up.
Yes.
We got a lot of things happening in the world right now. So we would love to get people engaged and get more people tuning in. Please share and like. And come back every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Usually we'll be able to take call-ins, but again, we had our technical assistant is not here today.
Not here.
But she will be in. Doc, I do got a question, though.
Come on with it.
And you don't have to delve too much into it right now. But what's up with this Iran bull? No.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned it. I would, believe it or not, it was on my spirit. Just for everybody out there who don't know me, I am an ex-soldier. My first job was to shoot people for the United States government, and I was very, very good at my job. Again, I left this country when I was a teenager, and I actually grew up in Southeast Asia. That's why I speak Ilocano. I speak Tagalog. My Japanese is not as good as my Korean. My Mandarin sucks. But parlez-vous français, anglais, et sprach die Deutsch anbieter. I speak about 12 languages, and I've been speaking about at least 6 or 7 for most of my life. So when I joined the military, I looked like a mountain yard tribesman, and they sent me to Vietnam to kill people. And I was very, very good at that. I was so good that the federal government, and specifically the Department of the Army, lost my records. Yeah, lost. They could not find where they send me. They could not find any of the assignments that I had been assigned to. They could not find any of the records that showed what they used me for. But we got lawyers on them right now that are gonna hunt them down and make them tell the truth. Right now, we are not in a war. A war can only be decreed by Congress sending us into a war. The president cannot cause a war. He can take military actions. It cannot be, by definition, a war. Now, it is not even military action for the sake of saving Americans. They say America was threatened by these people. Excuse me. They don't have any rockets that can come from there to here. They don't have any ships that can sail from there to here. They don't have any way of affecting America with a threat. Now, if we send Americans over there, yeah. We send them to the Middle East, but that's us putting them.
I got it, Mick. You can bring it up.
In danger. Where we are now is line 44.5.
Let him finish it.
Okay.
Where we are right now is line 44.5. I never say his name because he is not the 45th president of the United States. His mama said the one job he should never have is president of the United States. the person who knows him better than anybody on this planet, his mama, said that about line 44.5. But we are in there to stop the Epstein files from throwing him in prison. And as they are showing right now, he has raped, assaulted, and brutalized young girls for most of his existence. This was the man who said, when you're famous, you can just go and grab women by the pussy. And they let you do it. And after he was questioned about that, he said, yeah, that's true. I can go grab him by the pussy. This man is insane, but the specific form of insanity he has, I have diagnosed as fetal alcohol syndrome. His mother drank. Again, one of the things that European females were told by European doctors is that when they get pregnant, they need to take 1 shot of alcohol every day. This was usually brandy or whiskey or gin. But Europe, the most privileged people in Europe, those are the ones that were told by their physicians, once you get pregnant, a shot of alcohol every day. And that turns them into fetal alcohol syndrome. I have been writing articles on fetal alcohol syndrome for about 15, 20 years. Some of them have been published in African American Lifestyle magazine. Some of them have been published other places. But he has every symptom. And you know what the major symptom of fetal alcohol syndrome is? Lying. They don't have any reciprocal friendships. You can treat them just as good as you want to. They're going to still screw you. And lying. Those are the 2 major symptoms of fetal alcohol syndrome that he can't run away from. Every day, every time he opens his mouth, what he comes out with is not true. It's not reasonable. It's not logical. And it sure ain't reality. Okay, that's the war.
Before we go to this, before we go to this picture, Woo says, "This is my first day. I'm looking forward to telling more."
Okay.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you, Woo.
Yes,
Woo,
woo,
woo, woo. And Ted says that military action was a complete failure for this corporation called America.
Yes, it was.
I share you, brother.
We do not have anyone leading this country who understands tactics, who understands specific mechanisms of combat. He don't have any, and I repeat, not just him.
Yes.
He, his father, his father's father, all of his sons, none of the males in his line, at least for the 3 or 4 generations we can trace, has ever served in the military of the nation that they resided in.
Would you all agree that we all miss Obama?
Oh, God, yes, please, Barack, come on back. We can change the Congress stuff. We can change, he can come back once we change the term.
Maybe Michelle might decide to be
that's what I want. I want Michelle to be president and Barack to be her vice president.
Wouldn't that be wonderful,
That
y'all?
would be amazing. I want it, y'all.
Imagine that.
I want that.
Now, let's look at you with then Senator at the time, you, Mick, and Miles Keaton Smith.
Yes, my Alexander
Let's
Keaton
see
Smith.
that.
Let's go with it.
That.
Mick, put it up for the folks there so they can.
All right, and Ted has another question, but I'll get back to that in a second.
Okay.
Check this out, y'all.
You see that guy who handing the CD to the then Senator Barack Obama? That's me. And the guy all the way on the end with the tie, that's Mick. Yeah, we introduced him to Cleveland, and he came in and said, "Thank you so very, very much. I appreciate it." It caused him to win the presidency.
I say.
Now, we took that picture with a camera that was on a video camera back then.
Yeah, it was.
With maybe 5 megapixels.
Yeah.
But there was a photographer for the whole campaign that was back there with us with a nice, crispy picture and camera
God.
that we have yet to track down.
We still looking.
So, I think what we're going to do is have AI just enhance this picture for us.
Come on, Lynn. It can be done.
All right. So, give it up for... We made history, y'all. We introduced Barack Obama to Cleveland, Ohio.
And the United States of America.
First opening act on his campaign in Cleveland, Ohio, Tri-C. Give it up for Global Entertainment, Dr. Wood, Mick Beats, and that is Humble G the Fiddler.
Yeah.
So,
last question.
This last question, Ted says, what was that diagnosis again? I think he's talking about the fetal alcohol.
Yeah, fetal alcohol syndrome.
Would you bring that down while we're waiting? Thank you.
It's called fetal alcohol syndrome, and if you want, just call Mick, and I will send you. We'll get your email, and I'll send you copies of the JAMA, Journal of the American Medical Association. The articles that explain the first medical view at an adult who has been diagnosed when they were born as fetal alcohol syndrome children. This is the first article because the first diagnosis of fetal alcohol syndrome was made simultaneously in France and the United States in 1964. So they had to wait 20, 30 years for these people to grow up into adults before they could see what fetal alcohol syndrome caused them to be as adults. And everything that line 44.5 says, does, and is, it's a fetal alcohol syndrome child grown into adulthood.
Right, and just in short, fetal alcohol syndrome came from years and years and years of Europeans drinking alcohol basically as a beverage.
Yes.
They didn't drink water.
No.
They didn't drink a lot of healthy type of liquids.
Children were given wine and beer at about the age of 4. They put water in it and called it small beer or small wine. But children they die if you gave them just water. They would die.
So we're at the end of our show.
Yeah, we are.
These two, the producer and the main host, will talk all night long.
We will.
It's my job to keep up with the time. So let's do this.
Okay. We miss you. Peace. And that stands for proper education. Always corrects errors. Yeah, y'all. Peace
Love
out.
y'all.
End of the video. Well, I am tired a little bit differently. I'm dressed as Baba Amwa. If you would like more of your own understanding, like, share, and subscribe.
Yes.
And go to the sites that we have listed around us. The Most High is good.
And the ancestors are kind.
Thanks
for having us on your minds.
Peace.